know you guys have been waiting, so needless to say, we're excited about our two selections tonight with both Willie Gay Jr. and Lucas Niang. Looking forward to both these guys coming in right away and helping us compete on Sundays. And again, since it's late at night, I'll just turn it over to you, Brad, and fire away.
All right, we'll start with Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam. Adam, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay.
Hey, Brett, how you doing?
Hey, Adam, how you doing?
Good, thanks. Hey, can you, first of all, can you just go over the two guys you picked today and how they fit in?
Yeah, well, first off, when the day started, had a chance to select Willie Gay Jr. and certainly we had our eye on Willie when the day started. He was a guy that we circled, and because he was suspended, and there wasn't a large volume of work this year on his tape. We didn't know where the league would be. We were certainly high on him from the get-go. Both Coach Spags and Coach Matt House, really like this guy too. But you look at a guy that really, he ran faster than most of these secondary guys out there at 4'4", 245 pounds, 39 vert, 11'4" broad. And I think if this guy comes back to school next year, Adam, plays a full season and is healthy, you're looking at a first-round pick. The guy's got tremendous upside. Guy can play Sam. He can play Mike or Will. So I think he'll have a chance to come in right away and get with our staff and bounce in there at Mike and bounce in there at Sam linebacker. So just a guy that's super talented, and we were fired up to get. And then in the third round there, sometimes the draft goes in different directions, and we've had some success with finding some value guys in the third round. And you sit there and you look at Lucas Niang. He's a guy that just 2 years ago he was asked to block both Bosa and Chase Young. Did a pretty good job. Guy that can play some guard too. So we think he can come in right away, and the kid is smart and challenge at guard, and then potentially work and develop at both right and left tackle. So two guys that we think have tremendous upside and are both extremely versatile.
One follow-up on Edwards-Helaire. I know you're just looking for good players, and that's the first concern. But do you feel like to maximize Pat's talents, you need to surround him, keep him surrounded with good offensive skill players?
Yeah, well, I think it really just heightens every level of his game. He's obviously the best player in the NFL, and the more weapons you give him, and the more the more selections he has out there on Sunday, whether it be on the outside in the vertical game with McCole or Tyreek, or inside with Travis and Sammy, and then just the running game. You talk about just situational football and down distances. I talked to Coach about this. You look at just running plays and during the course of a game, 2-yard carries when it's blocked up. All of a sudden, you get a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and second and 8s now become second and 2s and second and 3s. And when you're faced with second and 2s and second and 3s with Pat Mahomes, I really don't know how you defend that. When you can just take shots on second and 2 or third and 2 and third and 1s, just because second and 2s, second and 3s, you can take shots because if you don't get it, you still have third down. So this guy has that ability to win the first down. Always, you want to win first downs and keep the chains moving, put yourself in good down and distance situations. So when you have a guy that can create plays and put you into those second and 2s and second and 1s, it just makes your offense much more difficult to stop.
All right, we'll go to you, Herbie.
Hey, good evening, Brett.
Hey, Herbie.
Hey, specific to Willie Gay, Coach Andy Reid was mentioning earlier on the call, he complimented the background checks that you did as well as the scouting team. But as a general manager, what do you need to hear to gain a comfort level when you're dealing with a player with red flags?
Well, you need to hear everything, and you have to do the homework. The one good thing with Willie Gay, everything that everybody talked to and everything he did, everybody loved the guy. I'm sure you had a chance to talk to him, talk to Coach. He had a couple incidents at college, but this wasn't a guy that you have a lot of players on the board, and certain guys there's no issues, and certain guys there's things you really have to work through. But I mean, every guy, whether they be no issues or some issues, I mean, you're going to do a ton of work on all these guys because you really don't know until you get into the school, and our area scouts do a great job, and you're going to talk to coaches and trainers and academic advisors and high school coaches, if they went to junior college or junior college coaches. So when you get into that process and you go through a guy like Willie Gay, and everybody that coached him loves the kid, you feel pretty good about where you are, and we're certainly excited to have him, and think he's going to be a great compliment both on the field and in the locker room.
All right, we'll go to Nate Taylor.
Hey, Brett, in terms of, Willie not having that many games on film this year, just where did you feel like you guys best found where he fit in terms of your board, and just how many, much like the case with Clyde last night, was Willie the top guy on your board despite some of the other linebackers maybe being available ahead of you guys?
You talking about round two? Well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, Willie was one of the top guys on the board, period. And again, it was, I think it was a little bit of good fortune that, he didn't play a full season because, you all saw his combine numbers. If you guys go back and watch the 2018 game versus Iowa, where he played some Sam linebacker on the line, and watch what he did against Iowa in 2018, watch what he did against Alabama in 2018, the bowl game in 2019 versus Louisville, some choppy segmented tape because he was in and out of the lineup this year. But when you start stringing together some of these games and then you put together the combine work and the numbers, and you see it on tape. And I think Coach mentioned chance to talk to Coach Dan Mullen, and Dan Mullen thought he could have been a Heisman candidate as a running back. He was that good in high school, that kind of athlete. So, this is a rare talent here, and he's going to be a guy that will need some. He just hadn't played a lot of football, so there'll be some technical aspects he has to work on, and certainly at this stage, just learning how to come in and process the game and Monday through Friday. But that's why you bring in guys like Tyrann Mathieu. Those guys are the glue guys, and he's going to come in and show them how it's done. Guy like him, guy like Anthony Hitchens, and this guy loves to play, and he's wired the right way. I know another thing too, when we were going through our notes talking about Willie Gay when he was going through that suspension, how you handle that adversity, and the coaches said that he was completely unblockable on the practice team. Couldn't play. A lot of guys could pout, could sulk, and how you handle that. They said that he just showed up like he was ready to play Alabama when he knew he wasn't playing. Just couldn't block him, and again, that type of stuff matters to us. That's why we signed the Badger last year and Frank Clark last year. So, again, we're looking forward to having him here.
All right, Vahe, we're going to go to you.
Thanks, Brett. Hey, Brett. It looks like you've added a couple of dynamic parts, certainly does. But I'm curious, just in a little bigger picture sense, with so much flux all around and all the continuity you guys have, whether it's coordinators coming back, 20 of 22 starters, your staff, how well equipped do you feel you guys are for perhaps a shortened, certainly a kind of cutoff off season, but perhaps even a shortened regular season? Do you feel like you're sort of built pretty nimbly for that with all that?
Well, yeah, certainly when you have a chance to return so many players and have a coaching staff stay together and have a group that went through a long season and played right through February, we'll see what happens moving forward. But I think it certainly plays in your favor for, the continuity and knowing the playbook and knowing what's expected. And whenever we get back into the swing of things with camp, whether it be shortened or whether we start at the original start date, I think guys just knowing how things operate and knowing the terminology and the playbook, I don't see how it could be a disadvantage. I think it would certainly put us in a good position here. So, we're certainly looking forward to that. And hopefully we get this thing started on time. But I think that the guys are ready to go, and we'll be in a good position this year to have a chance to repeat.
All right, guys, we probably have time for a few more. So we'll go Pete Sweeney, Matt Derrick, and Herbie. Go ahead, Pete.
Hi, Brett. I had two, just one I wanted to ask you about Clyde and then Willie. First thing on Clyde, you as a up-and-coming personnel man, whether it be with John or Andy, would always start harassing, not harassing in a good way, wearing them out about certain players. At what point was that for you with Clyde? And then when it came to Willie, Andy had mentioned that you guys were sweating it out. So I was just wondering if you could bring us through what the virtual room was like as you were maybe waiting to take Willie tonight. So again, the moment for Clyde, and then what happened with Willie tonight.
Well, that's a good question with Clyde. I think the coaches and the staff got off easy this year because we weren't in the building together, so wasn't able to just pop down there and harass them and knock on the door and keep wearing them out. But I mean, look, our guys that had a chance to go in there loved him. I mean, everybody loved this guy. This was an easy one for everybody to just jump on board with. It was one of those things where from the moment you put him on, you always look at, I think we're all trained this way, you always look at the tag right away. So I remember the first time looking at the tag and thinking, all right, here we go, 5'7" running back. And then you watch him, you're like, wow. I mean, but it was like that from me to all the guys in my personnel staff that watched him to our coaches. So it was really purely a joint effort in that we all, I think, as soon as you watch him on tape, fell in love with them. And then as far as Willie Gay, I mean, we, again, had the chance this morning to get together with our staff and look at the board and look at the names. I mean, he was one of the guys right at the top of that list, and it was such a long wait. So I do give credit to my staff for helping me be patient. And you guys know I like to be aggressive, but there was a lot of good players there, and the numbers worked out. But once we got into that range where there was 4 or 5 players and only 3 or 4 picks left, we just shut it down because we knew we had a chance to get a player that we really liked, and Willie was obviously at the top of that list. So when he fell all the way to us at that pick, we were obviously extremely excited.
Go ahead, Matt Derrick.
Hey, Brett, with Lucas, what do you feel like is projecting as his best natural position? And is he somebody that, could maybe contribute immediately inside and then maybe later kick out the tackle, or is he just strictly a tackle to you?
Well, I think right off the bat, he'll have a chance to kick in there and compete at guard. This will be, to Vahe's sort of question earlier, this will be a challenge when you have a virtual off season and, how much training camp do we have? So, I mean, that will be a little bit of a challenge, but you do like the fact that this guy is extremely smart, intelligent. But I do think that let's just play it out that we'll play best case scenario that we're able to start training camp on time. I think that you'd see him pop right in there at guard and compete inside at guard. And then probably, how Coach Heck does a great job of letting the guys work in at guard with the 1s and 2s and then tackles a little with the 3s. I think that's kind of what you'd see. You'd see him with the earlier groups at guard, and then as a younger guy taking more reps with the second or third team as tackle, just have him bounce in and out. So, you do hope you can get training camp on time because you kind of need that on-field work for the young guys like this. But I certainly think he'd get thrown right in the mix there at guard.
All right, Herbie, close us out.
Hey, Brett, last week during your pre-draft presser, you had mentioned cornerback. You like the depth of the cornerback position in this draft. With 3 rounds in the books, how important do you feel is it to come out of tomorrow with a quality cornerback?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll certainly look at that. We also felt it was extremely important to get a 4'4" linebacker, 245 pounds, and a guy that can potentially start at tackle and guard. But I think, just across the board, just finding ways to improve our roster any way we can. And, we'll be looking at corner, and we'll be looking at obviously some D linemen, and you can never have enough offensive linemen. But I mean, to your point, I mean, it's certainly a thing that we look at, but it doesn't mean that we're just going to, turn our eye on other positions. And we felt that depth and speed and athleticism at linebacker would certainly need, and certainly offensive line depth was a need. So there's many different ways to attack this thing. And there's also, the free agency period. We've had success with guys like Rashad Fenton, and then we made the trade for Shavarius Ward, who was an undrafted free agent. So there's talent out there, and you just have to keep your eyes open. And again, got to have a great personnel staff, which I have. So we'll certainly be anxious to get this thing rolling tomorrow and try to add more talent on both sides.
Well, thanks, Brett, for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. See you tomorrow.